Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So we got more information coming out about the current state of air traffic and flying in our country today. This one from the New York Post. FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. The Federal Aviation Administration is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under the Diversity and Inclusion Hiring Initiative spelled out by the agency's website. Now, this is pretty wild, right? So targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruiting and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. Okay? The initiative, a part of the FAA's Diversity and Inclusion Hiring Plan, which claims diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel across the nation and beyond. Okay, so we want blind and deaf pilots? Okay, I get it. That's not what they're hiring these people for. But I guess we want blind and deaf air traffic controllers. Oh, well, that's not it either. Okay, what is it then? The FAA's website shows the agency's guidelines on diversity hiring were updated on March 23rd, 2022. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg's Department of Transportation, is a government agency charged with regulating civil aviation and employs roughly 45,000 people. All eyes have been on the FAA and airline industry in recent days. Little clip there of people flying with the door wide open. Everybody's breathing out of their oxygen masks. Interesting. Okay. So the FAA added it would increase its oversight of Boeing following the incident, including auditing Boeing's 737 MAX 9 jetliner production line and companies that supply parts to the airline manufacturer. Okay. Following the incident, social media commenters and public figures have charged the airlines and airline manufacturers' emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives has made flying less safe. And so far, everything I've read in this article would only back up that theory, but do you want to fly in an airplane where they prioritize DEI hiring over your safety? Tech billionaire Elon Musk wrote on X last week. That is actually happening. The DEI rot of the airline industry is way worse than you think, Matt Walsh wrote in an op-ed last week. Critics of such commentary have pushed back on the argument that prioritizing DEI has made traveling less safe, with civil rights groups slamming Musk, for example, for the abhorrent and pathetic tweet. On the FAA's website, the agency claims that people with severe mental and physical disabilities are the most underrepresented segment of the federal workforce. Because diversity is so critical, FAA actively supports and engages in a variety of associations, programs, coalitions, and initiatives to support and accommodate employees from diverse communities and backgrounds. Our people are our strength, and we take great care in investing in and valuing them as such, the FAA states. I understand that you want to be an employer like this, but when you're flying people all around the country, thousands of people at a time, is that in the customer's best interest? And ironically, the customers are your employers, considering you're a government agency and you run off tax dollars. So, I don't know, maybe you should ask the people. Pass out some surveys to the people that are flying on your planes whenever they jump on there. See what they think. When asked for comment on the initiative, including what roles people play with disabilities would fulfill, the FAA told Fox News Digital that the agency thoroughly seeks and vets qualified candidates from as many sources as possible for a range of positions. Like which ones? I'm curious. The FAA employs tens of thousands of people for a wide range of positions, from administrative roles to oversight and execution of critical safety functions. Like many large employers, the agency proactively seeks qualified candidates from as many sources as possible, all of whom must meet rigorous qualifications that, of course, will vary by position, the FAA said. Sounds like a bunch of legal speak to me. Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, chairman of Do No Harm, a group of healthcare professionals, medical students, and policymakers working to protect healthcare from a radical, divisive, and discriminatory ideology, told Fox News Digital that similar to the medical field, the aviation industry has an obligation to protect its travelers. I agree with that. The aviation industry has a responsibility for traveler safety, just as the healthcare industry has a responsibility for patient safety. These responsibilities outweigh other factors when considering applicants to work in these fields. People with disabilities who can successfully complete the task should never face discrimination, said Goldfarb. a retired professor and former associate dean for curriculum at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine. Unfortunately, Goldfarb said, identity politics is creating opportunities for so-called oppressed groups by lowering standards for entry into those fields, and thereby endangering the safety of those which it's designed to serve. Some endeavors simply do not lend themselves to identity politics, he added. The FAA's website outlined that some managers can hire disabled people and veterans through an on-the-spot process, providing required documentation as submitted. The FAA also details that employees with disabilities will be provided reasonable accommodation on the job. I mean, that's all good and fine, but is it the right place to be hiring people based on diversity, equity, and inclusion type of rules rather than finding the most qualified, well-suited person to actually fit that particular role? Just for a safety standard, I would have to say, no, it's not worth it, and they should be opting towards safety of their consumers, safety of their employees, and hiring the best people qualified for the job, whatever they look like or whatever their sexual preference is. Shouldn't matter. What should matter the most is their qualifications. So when they put out these initiatives to hire more diverse folks, what they're doing is they're putting people in leadership positions. They're incentivizing them to hire a person based on their appearance or sexuality so they can hit the marks that were determined by their leaders, right? The goal is to hire more diversity than white people this year, right? That's pretty much what it is. What do you think the person's going to do whenever their job or their bonuses depend on it? I'll just wrap it up there. So anyways, if you got anything out of this video, hit that like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.